of a team of international artists and writers who make up Fluid Friction. The 25-book series will be launched in India next month, followed by Hong Kong, Singapore, UK, and the US. Let's talk to the company's CEO, Simon Squibb, who joins us this morning from Hong Kong. Hey, Simon. Now, it may be comic relief, but also a serious business with the onslaught of video games, MP3 players, and other forms of entertainment. Why are you still convinced the comic book business is profitable?
Well, there's a huge scope for development of a baseline product like a comic book. And of course, you have the traditional model of selling a comic book and generating revenue from that. But we have, of course, looked at the spring up of movies from comic books, video games from comic books, miniatures from comic books, collectibles, all the way through to new ideas that we have, such as getting involved in art galleries and art exhibitions and events related to art from the actual genre of comic book. So through our business model, we're very excited about the concept of comic books still being a very profitable enterprise.
Why not launch in other mediums first, like video games, for instance? Why comic book?
Well, every product, I guess, you can launch from a video game and then from there go into comic books and go into movies. I guess there's lots of different ways to enter into the market. I think for us, we are connected to a lot of very talented artists, both here in Asia and in the US. And when we looked at our story that we had, we felt that the first application being a comic book would be a great way to get the message out about our story and the product. And we just felt that the comic book was the best method to launch with. And hopefully that will springboard into the other mediums that you just mentioned, movie, gaming, etc.
You also be one of the thousands and thousands of comic books we have. How do you plan to differentiate yourself? How will you be different?
Well, I guess it's a lot like the movie business. You can pick up a camcorder and go out and video and say you're in the movie business. I guess you can start drawing a page on a comic book and say you're in the comic book business. But when you pick up our product, you'll see there's a real process behind it. You have a director who runs the show, just like you do a movie. You have talented artists, just like you have talented actors behind the scenes creating these products. So that's the first big differential for us, is the actual quality of the product that we produced. And then for us here, again, in Asia, we've really focused on being different from the others. A bit perhaps like Nintendo have been different with their consoles, in the same space but different. We have tried to do the same with our comic book by creating an East meets West product, which most comic books are either American or they're manga. So there's no Asian, say, focus storyline, for example, like we've got. And there's no international level quality product that can compare to ours. So that's how we're going to be different.
I'm looking at your targets here, Simon. 40,000 copies expected for the launch in Hong Kong. What kind of sales performance are you targeting for Devashard in the various Asian markets? How popular do you think it'll be in markets like the US and the UK? Well,
it's of course hard to guess. We can look at what Marvel and DC comics sell. We can look at perhaps locally manga, what they're selling. Manga comics are still increasing in revenue every year. They've broken into the US market and have made a big impact there. So from our projections, we have every reason to be excited, although we're keeping a level head and looking at the numbers conservatively and looking at the long-term picture and not making wild guesses at what we could sell. But one strong deal on the gaming side or on some of the promotional online games or mobile content side could generate huge revenue. So we're not too worried about that side of it.
All right. Simon Squibb, thanks so much for joining us today and good luck.